What's up, boys? Just got to double and triple check to make sure everything's working right. Just bear with me for a second. Check to make sure everything's working. Yep, everything's perfect. All right, what's up, boys? I know it's been a little bit of time. I decided to do another little live stream. And I was a little bit late on Monday, but for all of you who are free, just be sure to join the live stream and we'll have a little bit of a chat. We'll go. I have an idea of what I want to do for this live stream. Obviously, by the title, I'm going to be doing matchmaking for the welterweight division. There's a lot of moving parts. The welterweight division is probably the best it's been in maybe forever. There's a lot of really, really talented fighters that are consistently coming up as well. So we'll be going through a little bit of matchmaking for the welterweight division. If you guys have any questions, comments, or whatever, be sure to leave it in the live chat. I'll be sure to answer any of your guys' questions. And yeah, but let's get started. So the first and most obvious fight that we already know is going to be happening is Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. This fight, obviously, a lot of people, including myself, really, really wanted to see Ilya versus Islam, but at least at this point, we're not going to get it. Maybe we'll get it in the future. We'll see. But at this point, we're not going to get it. So this is the obvious fight. I already made a video talking about this. Check it out if you haven't seen it. But I do think Jack Della has a real chance to win this fight, and I actually think he will win this fight. His boxing combos are tremendous. His takedown defense looked to be really good, much improved in his fight against Bilal. And I know a lot of people are saying Bilal fought in a very dumb way. And that's why Jack looked a little bit better than maybe he otherwise would have against a different wrestler or a guy like Islam, which of course could be true. Bilal definitely did box a lot more than he usually does, and he didn't shoot as much as he usually does. So there could be some credence to that. But regardless, if it was in the first round, if it was in the third round, fourth round, whatever, I thought Jack Della's ability to stop takedowns looked really, really good. And obviously, we'll see what happens in this fight versus Islam. Maybe Islam is able to take down Jack Della, have a lot of success, find a submission, or just land ground and pound shots. But in my opinion, I do think Jack Della is going to be able to keep the fight on the feet for extended periods. And if that does hold to be true, I think he's going to be able to, for lack of a better term, piece up Islam Makhachev over those long extended periods where they're on the feet. So that's the first fight, obvious fight. Not really any matchmaking for me, but one that we're probably going to get. Next one, I have two options for this one. Next one is going to be Sean Brady versus Ian Gary. Now we've heard this going around a little bit. I know Ian Gary says he wants to fight for the title next and he wants to wait or whatever. Although there has been a little bit of a change from him. Now he's saying that he might be willing to fight at least one more time before the title. I think this fight makes all the sense in the world. Sean Brady versus Ian Gary for the #1 contenders fight. Whoever wins gets a title shot. If Sean Brady wins, you do Sean Brady versus the winner of Islam versus JDM. Or obviously, if Ian wins, you do the winner of the title fight that I mentioned before. But yeah, I think it just makes a lot of sense. Now, in terms of who do I think will win this fight, I know he's not a very popular fighter. Not a lot of guys like him. But I do really think Ian Gary might win this fight. I just think he does a lot of stuff well out there. I do really like his game. I really do like his movement. I am a really big fan of his ability to land jabs, stay long, stay defensively sound. And although it's not necessarily the most exciting style to watch out there, he does do a good job at just winning fights, doing what he needs to do. And in a fight against Sean Brady, of course, we haven't seen Ian's takedown defense tested all that much against tremendous wrestlers, at least. I guess we saw a little bit from Shafkat, and he did a great job at stopping takedowns from Shafkat. But it would be interesting to see if he can stop takedowns from Brady. But similar to a lot of other guys, I think if he is able to stop takedowns from Brady, which is a big if, I do think Ian's going to have a lot of success on the feet. Now, I'm not saying he's going to knock him out. Ian doesn't necessarily knock guys out, but on the feet, I think he'll do a great job at just utilizing movement, being defensively sound, utilizing those jabs and left or right straights, switching stances, a ton of kicks. And I think overall he's going to be piecing up Sean Brady if the fight does stay on the feet, which I do think he will be able to do so. But if the fight does go to the ground, that's Brady's world. He has tremendous top time pressure. Of course, he has a great submission game as well, and I do think Ian will be in trouble if Brady's has top position on him. But that's another potential fight. Um, the next one that I wanted to touch upon is, so obviously right now we have Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley coming up in not too long future from now. This is a very weird fight. I'm certainly rooting for Usman, but he might just be too old at this point. I don't think he's going to utilize much wrestling in this fight or in any of his fights going forward. I think his knees are basically shot. But I think what he could do in this fight, maybe effectively, is utilize that jab and right straight and just look to win a fight like that. Buckley does. I'll say this about Buckley. Buckley is certainly much improved from where he was prior. In the past, I thought he used to throw out a lot of just garbage, honestly, just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what lands. That was kind of what Buckley's style was. At this point, he's a lot more refined and he does a much better job out there at utilizing his striking effectively. And yes, so Buckley is very good. But with that being said, I do think there's a chance that Usman could disrupt a lot of the things that Buckley wants to do by just utilizing that jab and right straight. And even though it's a very simple thing that Usman does, it is very effective. He still has a ton of power regardless of his age. And he does have a really nice ability to throw that jab and right straight. Pretty technically, actually. So that's an interesting fight. I definitely would lean with Buckley just based on age, but who knows? Maybe Usman can pull it through. And if Usman does pull it through, I actually don't have it here for some reason. I guess I forgot, but we'll do a little pivot and go over here. So if Usman wins, I think the fight to make is Usman versus Bilal Muhammad. Both of them don't really like each other that much. It's a little bit of a grudge match. Both guys are, well, Bilal just is coming off a loss. Usman would be coming off a win, I guess, if he beats Buckley. Or even if he loses to Buckley, I still don't mind that fight, Usman versus Bilal. It should be an interesting one. I actually also think that's a pretty good fight for Usman. If he's still able to stop takedowns at this point in his career, which I think he will be able to, on the feet, I do like a lot of what Usman would be able to do to Bilal. Now, for Bilal, I will say he has improved his striking significantly. He was landing decently effectively on JDM, which definitely is pretty impressive. And maybe he's just in a different league than what we're used to with Bilal Muhammad. Maybe his striking is just significantly better than it was. But in a potential matchup between Bilal and Usman, I honestly may favor Usman. Obviously, the power advantage is by far on Usman's side, but we'll see. So that's another potential matchup that I like. For Bilal, even another matchup could be Bilal versus Colby. I know Colby is probably washed at this point. He's not great. But that has been a grudge match forever. Maybe you do Bilal versus Colby, and we'll see what happens there. Just looking through some of the other guys at the welterweight division, Michael Morales is coming off a really impressive victory, first round KO victory or TKO victory over Gilbert Burns. So I think he's probably going to be at least number 8 after this. And tomorrow, I guess, when they update the rankings. And then a potential matchup for him. I know the ranking or the matchmaking is a little bit all over the place. But one fight that I really like, maybe it's pushing him a little bit too fast, is Michael Morales versus Sean Brady. I think he actually could have a lot of success. What he showed in the Gilbert Burns fight, to me, was a lot of different things. Of course, he showed an ability to strike. He showed an ability to have a ton of power, but also he showed a great ability just to be bigger than everybody else and essentially stronger than everybody else. Gilbert Burns, regardless of his age, regardless of his wrestling pedigree, if it's talked about a lot or if it's not, he's a really good wrestler, and he was able to take Morales down once. But once he did take him down, Morales literally just stood up, showing off his incredible physical strength. So if Morales goes up against Sean Brady and Brady can't take him down, Brady's really, really in trouble with this guy. This guy's going to be 10 times longer than Brady. He's going to be significantly bigger. I think he's going to be physically strong enough to stop a lot of the takedowns. And on the feet, I don't really think Brady has much for this guy. He just has a significant more amount of power as well. And I honestly think we're looking at a first or second round KO victory for Michael Morales if he goes up against Sean Brady. Do I think Morales is going to be a champ one day? Yes, I do actually. I don't know if he's going to be a champ soon or later, whatever. But I do think eventually he will become a UFC champ. He has done a lot of good things in the UFC thus far. Of course, his first round TKO victory over Gilbert Burns is a really good step in the right direction. And I think we're going to be talking about this guy as a dark horse of 170. But yeah, there's a lot of guys at 170 that are just very good. As I said before, welterweight is probably looking to be the best it's ever been. Um, and there's just a lot of exciting things happening at that weight class. So uh, yeah, it's looking pretty good. Just matchmaking a little bit, just to reiterate: Jack Della, Islam. I would say Bilal, Kamaru Usman. I'll say Brady, Ian Gary. Shafkat is probably going to be fighting for the title after Islam, I would assume, and also he's hurt, so he can't even fight anybody else at this point. But also a quick note on Shafkat: there's a real chance this guy can get passed up on. He has been injured in really all of his fights. And this most recent fight, he had a surgery. He's been out a long time. And yes, he's done with the surgery, but now there's the recovery time. Now there's bulking back up because he did look a little bit small, like he lost a good amount of muscle after that surgery. So if they do end up doing Brady versus Gary, whoever wins that fight is probably going to get a title shot before Shafkat. And maybe Shafkat would need to fight again whenever he's healthy. So there's a real chance he can get passed up on. But at this point, I would probably say he'll get the title shot after Islam does. So yeah. So then Leon is an interesting one. Maybe honestly you could do Leon Michael Morales. Let's go with that. Leon Michael Morales. As I said, Usman, Bilal already, Gary, Brady, I already said, Buckley. If Buckley beats Usman, maybe you do Buckley, Leon, or maybe this is a weird fight, but maybe you do Buckley versus Shafkat. If Shafkat needs to fight one more time before the title, that'd be a weird fight, but maybe you do that. Gilbert Burns, I think, honestly, probably retirement is maybe the right option for Gilbert Burns. But if not, maybe you do a Gilbert Burns versus Colby. That's a winnable fight for Burns. I think both of these guys are kind of washed, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, you can do that. I think this will be a really good fight. Prates versus Jeff Neal. I think that's a good one. And yeah, of course, you have Luque. Luque's already fighting Kevin Holland, I believe. MVP is not fighting anyone as of this point, but that fight's always there. Wonderboy Thompson versus Michael Page, but they don't want to do it. And honestly, it could be a boring fight because they both have those striking styles, and it might not clash effectively or well, I guess, or aesthetically pleasing, I guess I should say. But yeah, that's matchmaking for 170. If you guys had any questions, any suggestions, or whatever, let me know in the comments. In terms of my channel, I'm trying to focus a lot more on it. For a long time, I've only been posting once a week, and I also post a short, so I guess technically 2 uploads a week. But for long form content, it was just 1 video a week. But I'm trying to bump that up. So from here on out, I'm changing it. Instead of videos on Wednesdays and that's it, it's going to be videos on Wednesdays and Fridays, and maybe even try to bump it up to 3 uploads a week. But at this point, I'm sticking with 2 uploads a week. I'm going to try to live stream a lot more often. Maybe I'll do it on Sundays from here on out, just to get on live a little bit, talk to you guys, update you on my channel if I have any updates with my channel, or just talk about a specific topic about MMA, about the UFC, potential fight announcements, or going into a fight if we just want to talk about it, break it down, or whatever. So you guys can be looking forward to that. But outside of that, yeah, I don't really have much more for you guys. As I said, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If not, I guess I'll see you guys on Sunday, this upcoming Sunday. Be sure to check out my videos that are already out. I have a couple that have been released recently. I have an upload that should be coming out on Wednesday, another upload that will be coming out on Friday. Shorts will be coming out. TikToks will be published as well if you guys haven't seen that. And yeah, that's enough promo for me. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, boys.